This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven Sun. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land. That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you. What really matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. That all changes starting right here and right now.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phatts TV on this Tuesday night, November the 10th, day 7 of now the attempted coup in our country by the progressive left. Joining me as always from his underground bunker deep in the center part of the state, the progressive bastion land in the middle of Pennsylvania, the non-genetically proven son. Now, we got new speakers tonight, so hopefully people have been saying they can't hear him too well, so hopefully they can hear him okay. So say something, non-genetically proven son, and let's see how you sound.
Something non-genetically proven son.
Hey, the volume is high, so let's just assume you sound good. So how the hell are you?
Tired.
Tired? Yeah, because of all the golf you've been playing over the past.
Almost played what a pro would every week in 4 days.
Oh, what a college life you have. What a college life you
played 63 holes in 4 days.
How come I didn't do that kind of stuff when I was in college?
I don't know.
So
maybe because it wasn't nice in the middle of November.
I'm south of you.
So
I was working all the time.
That's a big valley where it's either gorgeous or ugly. It's one of the two.
At
the time it's gorgeous here.
I was working all the time.
That
so
sucks to be you.
There's a couple things that I want to show everybody tonight, and I was kind of hoping to have an analysis done, but being I was on vacation from work last week because of the election and stuff, I kind of had to play catch-up over the past couple days, so I haven't gotten the analysis of Benford's Law done yet, but I do want to discuss what Benford's Law is and how they've used it in the past to prove election fraud, and they're going to attempt to use it again. Now, when I explain to you what Benford's Law is, you're going to be confused about how this happens in the frequency that it happens. I remember back in my youth, speaking of my college days, when I took a statistics class, which I had to take for my majors, which was accounting and business management. I had to take a stats class. I remember studying Benford's Law, and now I couldn't explain to you anymore what it is without having to look it up, because my life as an accountant, I don't do complicated math anymore, also known as Common Core math, because Common Core math is complicated, be that as it may. So let's talk about actually what Benford's Law is, and you're going to find this rather interesting. So Benford's Law, it's also called the Newcomb-Benford Law. Those are the two researchers that kind of discover this. It takes a random sampling, and the larger the sampling, the better. And it only looks at the first digit of the sample. And it shows an anomaly that typically the number 1 appears most often at the beginning of the sample. And as you go up the number scale from the number 1 to the number 9, the frequency of that number appearing first goes down. So that the number 1 appears typically over 30% of the time, and the number 9 appears under 5% of the time. Now again, that's the leading digit. So you could see how they use this for elections. You could take county-wide voting, and you could use Benford's Law to see if there's irregularities in voting. So let me scroll down the page so you could see the frequency of it. And I can't make this bigger, so I apologize. But using Benford's Law, the number 1 is typically 30.1% of the time. The number 2 is 17.6. The number 3 is 12.5. The number 4 is 9.7. The number 5 is 7.9. The number 6 is 6.7. The number 7 is 5.8. The number 8 is 5.1. And the number 9 is 4.6. So it's amazing that, so let's say the state of Iowa, which has 99 counties in it. So you would expect 30 of those 99 counties, their vote total for either candidate, to start with the number 1. Now, wouldn't you think it should be just random? That each digit should be able to appear 11.1% of the time. 11.1 times 9 is 99.9%. You would think that, wouldn't you? But research throughout the last many hundreds of years have shown the larger the sample, the more chance that you're going to have for the number 1 to be the lead digit of all the numbers in those samples. So I want to do an analysis of the swing states that's going to show you that looking at Joe Biden's numbers, Grandpa Joe, in those states are reporting a 99.99% chance of voter fraud in these states. Like I said, didn't get a chance to get the analysis done. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of typing again on my part to get all the numbers in. So hopefully by Thursday's show we'll have that. But since I had posted at 2 o'clock this morning that we were going to be talking about Benford's Law, I did want to touch on it. So what do you think about that non-genetically proven son with your glasses that you don't need to wear glasses, but you have glasses on anyway? What do you think about it? Doesn't it sound weird?
If I'm being honest.
You're confused, right?
Yeah, I'm confused.
As I'm sure most people are. Because you would think it should be random.
That you're saying, let's just say I go to Berks County.
Yep.
The first number of votes for Trump is going to most likely start with a 1.
There's a 30% chance that it will start with a 1. So let's just look to see, since you want to bring up Berks County. So let's go to 2020. Let me pull back over here on the map. Let's go to Pennsylvania. Berks County. What number does that start with?
A 1.
A 1. Interesting, isn't it?
Center County, I think they're both 1. No, they're not both 1s.
No, they're a 4 and a 3. So the rule says that the larger the statistical, or the larger the data set that you have, the greater chance, the more numbers, and we're just looking again at the first number of each data point, will begin with a 1.
Do Philly then.
Trump's number begins with a 1. Now again, when we're just looking at county by county by county, the data point is just 1.
Right.
There's one data point. But if we were to look at all 65 counties, 67 counties, whatever it is in Pennsylvania, again, 30% of the time, they should start with a 1. That, in essence, is what Benford's Law is.
Yeah, who thought of this?
Benford. Benford?
Benford's interesting.
Yes. Benford is interesting. What year did they develop this theory? And they have a mathematical formula to determine the p-value. And when the p-value falls under 10%, the better chance of fraud. And I did see, if I remember seeing correctly, that when you look at all the swing states, Trump's percentage is up around 70%. Very little chance of fraud. Biden's percentage is between 1 and 2%.
That's very high percent.
Yes. So that's why they're saying
1 and 2% of what?
It's the mathematical formula that they use. It's called the p-value. That's the part that I don't know yet because I haven't had a chance to go through.
Okay.
Yes. So, what do you guys think about this? Doesn't that sound like totally ridiculous that it should be 11.1% chance?
Hey, Biden got a really good turnout from the elderly, specifically between ages of 125 and 200.
Okay, thank you for just changing the subject here.
You're welcome.
Yes, he did. He got a great turnout of Trump did not do enough to carry the 150 and above age vote. So seriously, what do you guys think of this Benford's law? Isn't that radical? I mean, you would think each number would have an 11.1% chance of coming up. But according to the law, the number 1 has a 30.1% chance of coming up.
So how is this going to be used in a court of law?
I don't know. They've used it 3 or 4 times that I've read to show that there's election fraud. And at least one of those times in North Carolina, I believe it was, the court called for a brand new election.
So we could see brand new elections in a lot of different states.
Who knows? Who knows?
Or they just kind of say, nope, Trump's president. You frauded so bad, you lose.
Yes. Yes. So, as I was getting ready to go to bed last night, a little after 2 in the morning, because I was up doing all this stuff for my fans out there on Phatts TV, which, by the way, our subscriber list is growing, so thank you very much. And there was a lot of people that told me they were going to tune in tonight, a lot of first-timers, so welcome. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe bell in the upper right-hand portion of your screen, and you'll get your notification, as long as you have your notifications turned on, when we go live each and every time. We try to do a show right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays and when circumstances warrant. Our Thursday show is a mix of politics and sports. So if you're into sports, especially sports gambling, check the Thursday show. But right now, our message board is dead. So if anybody is watching and you want to send us a message, let me know what you thought of the opening tonight. The first part of the opening was a part of Trump's inauguration speech from January 2017. And then the second thing that we showed, which we've showed here a few times, and I will get a copyright strike on my YouTube channel for showing that. They won't take it down. I just can't monetize the video, but I don't really care about that. They were showing that at a lot of his rallies. So for the time being, until this gets election mess, coup d'etat, whatever we're calling it, gets sorted out, that might be our opening for the next couple weeks. What do you think about that, non-genetically proven son? You think we should use that as our opening?
As long as you don't get struck down by YouTube.
I mean, at least his speech part.
That technically shouldn't be copyrighted.
No. It's all over YouTube. So, no, I shouldn't. Hello, Daryl. How you doing, my friend? Yeah, no, it shouldn't get taken down, at least for the speech. But what I wanted to point out in the speech is how it's so populist. The whole thing, and if you watch the entire speech, it's only about 17 minutes long. It talks about giving power back to the people where it belongs. Power doesn't belong with the elite. That's why the elites hate Trump so much, because he wants to give power back to me and you. And even you, non-genetically proven son. He wants you to have some power. Power that maybe you could drive the ball further. A little more power.
Come on, I drive the ball farther than you.
I'm old.
And?
I'm old. Daryl says if he was doing any better, he'd be me. Of course. So, speaking of Daryl, since he posted something this week, our friend, the Donald, he is supposedly considering starting his own broadcasting company when the time comes that he's no longer president, whether it's this upcoming January or January 2025. What do you think? Do you think he should start his own broadcasting company? Because let's admit it, Fox News is no longer right.
I might be watching Fox News at 9 p.m.
At least, yes, you definitely, maybe. Fox is no longer on the right side of politics. Yes, their nighttime shows still fall to the right, but their daytime shows absolutely do not. They are just as left as the Communist News Network, also known as CNN, and MSDNC. They fall that left. I mean, they are now cutting away. Kaylee had a press conference yesterday, and Fox just cut away from it for no reason. I mean, honestly, if you have the ability to watch Newsmax, switch to Newsmax, like I have. I couldn't even tell you the last time I turned on Fox. It's been over a couple weeks. In fact, I've been posting this the last few nights. If you go to their Facebook page, Fox News' Facebook page, and keep refreshing it every so often, you will see their likes going down, 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 down. Since Sunday night, they're down about 1.3 million likes. They're down under 18 million now, or close to 17 million or something like that. And they were in the 19s on Sunday night. So they're going down, 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 down. Yes,
I think it's a good idea though. He'll blow every news company off the map.
He would. And, there's a rumor out there that he's going to start doing his rallies again. Now, show of hands, class. If he has a rally anywhere within 100 miles of your house, are you going? Show of hands. I'll be there. I'll take a day off of work if it's during the week. I'll be there. You're damn right I'll go to a Trump rally. They're phenomenal. They are phenomenal to go see. But, again, who knows what's going to happen with them.
There's another rumor, if Trump does lose, he'll be running in 2024.
There is. So he must, watch my Facebook page, because I post this stuff and, within 4 to 6 hours, these rumors come out. Maybe the Donald and I are really tight and nobody knows about it yet. So, let's look at a couple things here. One of the things I wanted to dovetail with Benford's Law was the map, the election map. So let's pull up, this is the 2016 election map. Now, if you're a regular watcher of my show, you will know that I said to watch the state of Ohio for this election. No Republican could win the presidency without winning the state of Ohio. So now, going back to 2016, Trump won Ohio by 8.1%. All right? So now, I've been saying, if he wins by about that, he's a shoo-in to win re-election. If he wins it by 4%, probably still a good bet he'd win election. If he won it by 2 or less, I would be very worried. If he lost it, not a stone cold chance in hell he was going to win the presidency. You have to understand that why I say that is because demographics regionally around the United States kind of vote the same way. So if Ohio does good for Trump, theoretically, he's going to do good in Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. I showed a map on the last show about how Florida goes. If Florida, looking at this election compared to the last election, if Florida goes whichever direction Florida goes in, certain states parallel it. North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, I think Wisconsin was there, and Iowa. They all kind of dovetail. So let's look at 2016. For those of you that forget, Trump won it by 1.2%. 48.6 to 47.4. He won it by almost 113,000 votes. So now let's look at 2020. He won it by 3.4%. So he tripled his margin of victory. He won by 373,000 votes. So theoretically, because he did better in did you say something?
I did not.
I have an echo now. Fix your echo. Your echo's fixed. Very good. So theoretically, since he did better in Florida, he should do better in North Carolina. He should do better in Ohio. He should do better in Indiana, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Theoretically. If I had the chart ready, I could show it to you again how just about in every election, that's how it's worked. So he did better in Florida by triple. But so let's start looking at these swing states. Let's look at North Carolina. He won North Carolina in 2016 by 3.6%. But now all of a sudden, in 2020, he only won it by 1.3%. Interesting. Obviously, as of this moment, he lost the state of Pennsylvania. So they say. By the way, some places have called North Carolina today for Trump. The New York Times has not. So let's look at Ohio. Remember I said he won it by 8.1%? Well, what do you know? He won it by 8.1% again. So he won it by the same. According to this, though, he lost Michigan, he lost Wisconsin, and he didn't quite win Iowa by the same amount. He won it by 8.3%. I believe he won it in 2016 by 9.9%. 9.4%. So slightly under. So now, using Bedford's law, what I want to show you is, we're going to go to 2016. We're going to zoom in to the state of Ohio, and we're going to look at Cayuga County. Okay? Cayuga County is Cleveland, basically. So I want you to look at the votes that Hillary got in 2016. She got 398,000 and change. All right? Let's look at what Joe Biden got in Cayuga County. 402,000. Okay? A gain of 4,000, which makes sense. Voter turnout was slightly up in Ohio, so he got slightly larger vote totals. Percentage-wise, he got 0.1% more from a percentage-wise. So you should expect to see in other counties with similar demographics him getting roughly 0.1% more than what he got. 0.1%, 0.2, 0.3, in there. So let's look at the greater Detroit area. So let's go to Hillary in 2016. So we'll go to Wayne County, and Hillary got 519,000 votes. So again, you should expect to see Biden get, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000 more votes. Again, demographics haven't changed in 4 years so much in the Rust Belt. They certainly haven't had a population explosion like places in Florida have, or places in Arizona have, or places in Texas have. We're talking about the Rust Belt area. The Rust Belt area is not growing in population. So Hillary got 519,000. Any guess what Joe Biden got?
700,000.
Joe Biden got 587,000.
That's a lot.
68,000 more votes. Does that sound logical?
Suspicious.
Does that sound
suspicious,
logical?
if you ask me.
Isn't it? Isn't it a little suspicious? For those of you that were awake when that big dump came in of votes, that's the county where most of them came from. When Joe Biden went up 130 some odd thousand votes and Trump went up none, that's the county it kind of kind of all happening.
I was listening to something about that earlier on Hannity's radio show.
Yeah.
Actually, where he was talking about how every state should follow Florida because Florida's been doing it for years.
Right.
This mail-in voting because of the old population.
Yes. Yes. So now let's look at a couple counties in Wisconsin. Let's look at Milwaukee County. Hillary got 289. So again, we should see less than 4,000 votes because it's smaller than Cayuga County. So you should see 2,000, 1,500. So Hillary got 289. Joe Biden got 317. 28,000 votes. 69.1%.
Right
compared to Hillary's 65.5%. Madison. Hillary got 218,000. Joe Biden got 260,000. Now, while I'm saying this, I'm not really pointing out Trump's totals here, but his totals are going up too. It's not like his are going down. His are going up. So let's see here. He got 79,000 in Dane County. And in 2016, he got 71,000. So he still went up 7,000. You're going to tell me that either Madison County grew that much in 4 years and I'm telling you it hasn't because we're in the Rust Belt? Or are you telling me that many more people voted? That there was this big vote explosion in these cities? Or are you going to tell me there's fraud? Which is the better chance of happening of those three? We already know, demographics-wise, it didn't grow. So either a whole shitload of people came out to vote for Joe Biden when he couldn't even fill 6 circles at a rally, or there's fraud. Which one seems more logical?
F-R-A-U-D.
I mean, think about it. The guy couldn't fill 6 circles at a rally. But he's getting 60, 70,000 more votes in these swing states, in these minority counties? Really? Does that pass your smell test? Think about that for a second. Think about that. Let's look at Minnesota. Minnesota now, you know.
We're going to have to sway people's minds in court, though.
Sure.
And I try to prove.
Sure.
What?
Sure. So let's look at the Minneapolis area of Minnesota. Now, who knows what happened this late spring and early summer in the Minneapolis region? Show of hands. Who knows? The kid in the blue shirt with the funny looking glasses.
Thank you. George Floyd.
George Floyd. You had whole parts of towns in the suburbs and in the city, more the city than the suburbs, I misspoke, burned down. Right? They literally were burned to the ground. You remember seeing those videos? I remember seeing those videos of fires every night, of looting, of destruction, of people getting hurt every single night. Let's look at the vote count. Hillary in Hennepin County got 429,000 votes. Again, 429,000. How does that compare with Cayuga County? How many did she get in Cayuga? 398. So basically, Minneapolis is a little bit bigger of a city. Slightly. So she got 429. So you should see, if everything stayed the same, you should see Joe Biden get about 436,000, 437,000. One could expect him to get less than Hillary, again, because of what's going on in Minneapolis. Let's look at how many votes Joe Biden got in that county. Remember, Hillary got 429. Well, looky here. Joe Biden got 532,000 votes. Are you seriously going to tell me that 103,000 more people came out to vote for Joe Biden? Seriously? Does that make sense at all? Seriously, ask yourself, is PA Phatts right? Does that make sense? That with all the burning, looting, pillaging, plundering, raping of the city that went on, the candidates that supported those actions, more or less, in bailing out all those criminals, got 100,000 more votes. Does that make sense? Seriously, does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you?
No. Not in the slightest.
No. It makes no sense. No sense at all. No sense at all. So let's look at the surrounding counties. Go back to our map. Washington County, Hillary got 67,000. She only won it by less than 2%. 67,000. In Dakota County, she got 111,000, rounding up. 67 and 111. Joe Biden got 89 and 145. So he went up 22,000 votes and 34,000 votes. By the way, Trump got 109 in Dakota County, where last time he got 99. So he still went up 10,000.
Which is a realistic number.
Yes. But Joe Biden went up 35,000 votes. So he went up almost 175,000 votes in these three counties alone. Really? Really? I would love to know. I'll have to see if I can find it on the Secretary of State's page for Minnesota, what the number of registered voters are in that county. Does that pass your smell test? Think. Does it pass your smell test? So let me show you something else. One of the maps that I like. This is the change map from the previous election. Now it all just looks like a bunch of colors to you right now. Because it is. So let's zoom in. So now you're starting to see there's arrows in here. So what this is telling you is, so let's go to Wisconsin. If it's a red arrow pointing right, that means in 2016, the Republican candidate either won the county by more than it did in 2012 or lost less in that county than it did in 2012 or flipped the county. It's one of the three. So let's just look at Taylor County. So in 2012, Mitt Romney got 59%. In 2016, Trump got 70%. So you see the percentage is bigger, so the arrow is moving right. Plus, the longer the arrow, the bigger the difference from the previous year. So like let's find a little one. So Outagamie County, Mitt Romney won it with 50%. Trump won it with 53%. So you see it's a smaller arrow. But look at what you see here. Again, we're talking about demographics. See, the state, with the exception of a few little counties here and not big arrows, it's moving right, moving right, moving right. You would expect certain parts of the state to do that. You know, this part of the state kind of votes together. This part of the state votes together. This part of the state votes together. So now let's go to 2020. And let's look at Wisconsin. Zoom in a little bit here. All of a sudden, look at these big shifts to Biden. Big shift. Big shift. Big shift. Big shift. Remember when I said how demographically these counties are the same? Look, you see a mix. Blue arrows, red arrows. It's a mix. You don't see that in typical elections. You don't. This is another indication that there's fraud going on. Again, people, it's demographically similar. You shouldn't be seeing these. This county goes this way. This county goes this way. You shouldn't be seeing that. The arrows should be going the same way, or if they go differently, they should be tiny arrows, tiny shifts, not this huge shift. Like Menominee County, Biden got 82%. Menominee County, 76%. So Biden got 6% more. So that's why you see such the big arrow. I mean, look at Michigan. It's the same thing. Like all these blue arrows, and then all of a sudden you got these red arrows in here, and then all of a sudden you got these blue arrows again. I mean, it makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Like, Ohio wasn't a swing state. Look at all the red. Look at all the red in the state of Ohio. Yes, you got a little blue, again, very small. And then you got, the Columbus area where you would expect some blue. But look, the rest of the state is all red, all red, all red. All red. Iowa, same thing. A lot of red. Up here, where they tend to vote similarly, you have a shift to blue. Let's look at Pennsylvania. Look at all the blue in Pennsylvania. Look at it all. Except for Philadelphia County. The one that you would expect to be blue is red.
That's funny.
Trump cut into his margins by over 4% from Hillary. So you would expect that to be blue, but that's the only one that's red. Even my county, the county that I live in, which has, it picked up over 10,000 more Republican registrations than Democrat since the last election went 1.6% more for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. Now, Trump still won the county. He won the county by 16,000 votes, 8.3%, but he won it by, I believe it was 9.9% in 2016. So that's why it's a blue arrow now. He won it by 9.9% in 16, but only won it by 8.3% in 2020. So it gets a blue arrow. This whole end of the state, the northeastern part of the state, is Trump country. It's Trump country, except for you can make a case that Lackawanna County isn't, because that's the home county of Joe Biden. BFD. He lived there till he was 9. But you know what? More importantly, Lackawanna County is also the home county of who, non-genetically proven son?
PA Fats.
PA Fats. You bet your ass that's my home county. Yeah.
I would expect Pennsylvania to be red across the board, except for Philly, the 3 surrounding counties, Lackawanna, Pittsburgh, and Center.
Yes. What goes on in this part of the state? From here to here. Non-genetically proven son.
South, too. It's down to Pittsburgh, south of Pittsburgh. Fracking, though.
Fracking. This is fracking country, except for Allegheny County.
Yeah.
Here. This is fracking country. You're going to tell me that Joe Biden cut into Trump's leads in the fracking part of the state? Come on, man. Seriously? Seriously? Come on. Now, maybe, just maybe, there's an explanation. At least for some of it. Is it really possible that the Democratic machine for the guy that couldn't get 6 people to fill up circles basically mailed everybody who was a Democrat a ballot? And they got that many people to fill them out. That's potentially one reason.
Oh.
In the state of Pennsylvania and in a lot of other swing states, something else happened. Something else happened. Let's go back. Let's go back and I want to see something real quick. Let's look at Georgia. So I just want to see something. I want to see... Yes. What don't you see here in the state of Georgia? No Green Party. They successfully kept the Green Party candidate off of the election. North Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina. Were the Democrats successful at keeping the Green Party out in North Carolina? No. Howie Hawkins was there. Only got 0.2%. Let's look at Pennsylvania. I know the Green Party candidate is not on Pennsylvania. So let's go back to 16 when the Green Party candidate was there.
Jill Stein.
Jill Stein. That's right. 2016. So Trump won it by 44,000 votes. Jill Stein got 50,000 votes. Good bet that the Green Party candidate probably would have got about the same percent. Joe Biden winning the state by, what is it now, 51,000 votes? 51,000 votes. No Green Party candidate. None. Kept off the ballot. Got the Libertarian. Pennsylvania successfully petitioned the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania to keep the Green Party candidate off the ballot, and they were successful.
Can this be brought up in court, too?
They have to prove that she should have been on it, or he should have been on it. Michigan. Do we have a Green Party? We do have a Green Party. Not a lot of votes, 13,000, but at least we do have a Green Party. How many is he officially down by according to the New York Times? 148,000 votes. Wisconsin. No Green Party. None. None. Biden won it by 20,000. How many votes did the Green Party get in Wisconsin in 2016? $31,000.
Coincidence.
Now, all of a sudden, the Green Party candidate, who's probably been on the ballot every election for the past 40 years, all of a sudden didn't make it on the ballot in this election? Things that make you go, Let's look at a couple more. Let's look at Arizona. Did the Green Party candidate make it there? Which, by the way, look, we're only at like 13,000 and change all of a sudden.
I thought you told me it was like 2 on the Secretary of State website.
No, I never said that.
Oh.
Look at that. No Green Party. Look at that. Let's look at 2016. What do you know? Jill Stein, 34,000 votes. Sorry, don't have the page up. There's the page. Jill Stein, 34,000 votes. Arizona, nothing. Nothing. Take away those 34,000 votes from Joe Biden, all of a sudden Trump's winning the state. Things that make you go, Typically, the way to make it onto a ballot is you just have to get enough petitions. And you have to turn them in on time. You're going to tell me that they couldn't get enough petitions to turn them in on time? Are you going to tell me that if the person running for the Green Party, if let's just say you voted for Donald Trump in this election, if one of the representatives from the Green Party comes to your house and says, I need you to sign to get my name on the ballot and I'm part of the Green Party, and you know that the Green Party is going to take away votes from Biden, not from Trump, you're not going to sign the petition? Of course you're going to sign the petition. Of course you are. Nevada. Let's see if he made it in Nevada. What do you know? No.
The Constitution Party did?
The Constitution Party. Yeah. You're going to tell me the Constitution Party made it, but not the Green Party? Come on, man. Seriously? Seriously? 2016. Green Party didn't make it in 2016 either. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So what do you know? Didn't make it in Georgia, Pennsylvania, made it in Michigan, didn't make it in Wisconsin, didn't make it in Arizona. All these swing states, they managed to be able to keep the Green Party candidate off the ballot. Things that make you go, What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Does that make you go, No comments with people telling me they're going, Come on. Use your brain. Use your brain here. One of the last things I saw before I went to bed last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hashtag Maidengate. Maiden Gate. Have you heard of Maiden Gate yet?
I Googled it when I saw you post about it.
Do you want to explain what Maiden Gate is?
I forget.
Okay. Well, what's a maiden other than a horse who's never won a race? What else is a maiden?
Your maiden name.
Your maiden name. Very good.
I do remember what it is now.
Yes. Crazy Roz asked, do I think this is going to be mentioned in the lawsuit? It could be. You have to go in and see why the Green Party was left off the ballot in each of these states. I know that there was a reason why he was kept off of the Pennsylvania one, that the Supreme Court, it was the same day the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania came out with all these stupid rulings, which we could go over quick again. But let's talk about Maiden Gate for a second. So there was this girl, was all over Twitter last night, all over Twitter, and now there's, as of this morning, hundreds of people saying it happened to them. Where we're just talking about the ladies now, not the men, that women that are married are going on to their state's website, the state that they lived in before they got married, and are looking to see if somebody cast a ballot with their maiden name. And as of this morning, there was hundreds of them. Hundreds. Obviously, every one of those ballots are fraudulent. They have to be. Because that's not their name anymore. So maybe, for you ladies out there that are watching, that do not use your maiden name anymore, check it. You never know what you might find. You never know. You never know. I checked my mother's. Nothing showed up. Check yours. Check yours. Especially if you moved since you got married from a different state. Check it. See what you find. I would love to know if there's a ballot cast in your maiden name. I would love to know. Be very interesting. Very interesting. I checked your mother's, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah. No ballot.
Can't. She voted for Joe Biden.
No. There's two things that I can promise you. A, she voted. Because she takes voting very seriously. And B, she voted for Trump. I could guarantee you.
For Joe Biden?
I could guarantee you those two things. So let's talk about the crazy rulings for Pennsylvania, and this is how we'll wrap up the night. Unless if you have something that you want to talk about.
I don't have anything.
I've done a lot of the talking. You need to get a haircut.
I know I need to get a haircut.
So, this is what this stupid state Supreme Court ruled. And this is why the Trump campaign is going to the Supreme Court for the state of Pennsylvania. These are we had the Green Party issue, but there's two other issues. A, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania allowed 3 extra days for ballots to come in. Now, the Supreme Court just can't arbitrarily decide to do that without proof that those 3 extra days are needed, because without them, it harmed somebody. Like you always hear on election day when the polls open, the voting machines in this precinct weren't working for the first hour. You hear that in every election. It doesn't have to be a presidential election. It could be an off-year election. So they'll go to a judge, and the judge will say, all right, the machines didn't work for an hour. We will keep polling open for an hour past the normal time because it affected somebody. Now, the Supreme Court made this decision 6 weeks before the election, not 6 hours before the election, 6 weeks. There's no chance, a snowball's chance in hell, that anybody could have proved that they were at a disadvantage, that they couldn't get their vote in on time 6 weeks prior to the election.
I have something then.
Okay. You just can't prove that. It's non-provable. So now the only way legally that it could be extended 3 days is if the legislature in Pennsylvania passed a special provision for this election, which they didn't do. For those of you that watch my show regularly, you will know I read the election law. For those of you that follow me on Facebook, go find my post. I believe it was September 23rd-ish, in and around there, when this decision came out by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. I copied and pasted word for word the election law. That said, all mail-in ballots must be received by 8 o'clock on election night. Unless it's a military ballot, then there's special provisions, which each state has, for overseas military ballots. Every state has that provision. All 50 of them do. So it's not like Pennsylvania's special in that area. So the law is very clear. It says 8 o'clock on election night, your vote needs to be received by the county, by the election center of your county, or else it's not counted. And then arbitrarily, 6 weeks before the election, the Supreme Court says, no, we're just going to extend it 3 days. The other stupid, asinine thing that opens up this state so badly for fraud is the state Supreme Court said you can't disqualify a ballot based only on signature verification. So what does that mean? I'll give the example that I've been given. Let's say I requested a mail-in ballot with the intentions of voting for Joe Biden. Just to use Joe Biden. Now, in the state of Pennsylvania, when you get your vote, it comes with two envelopes. Two envelopes. It comes with a secrecy envelope, and then it comes in the mailing envelope. Now, one of the other things that the Supreme Court ruled, which is in the election law, so they got this one right, at least, is if your vote did not come in the secrecy envelope, it doesn't count. Which makes sense. So, I request a mail-in ballot with the idea of voting for Joe Biden. My ballot comes, I fill it out, I sign it, I stuff it in the envelope, I mail it back. Oops, I forgot to put it in the secrecy envelope. Oopsie. Vote's not getting counted. Vote's not getting counted. Scenario number 2. I request a mail-in ballot. Now, my address here is, 77 North 14th Street. Well, right over yonder is North 15th Street. It's actually on the same road. It's like the letter U, where on this side of the road is North 15th Street. This side of the road is North 14th Street. It goes in a U. Many, many times I get the mail for the people at the same house number on North 15th Street. And sometimes they get my mail. It's just the way it is. So I request the mail-in ballot with the all intentions of voting for Joe Biden. The people at North 15th Street get my ballot. They say, I'm filling it out. They fill it out for President Trump. They sign it, stuff it in that secrecy envelope, stuff it in the mailing envelope. Send it on. Now, I don't know how your state is, but my state of Pennsylvania, every county elections office has your signature on file. When you go vote in person, they have this big book. They pull up your name in the book, and right there is your signature. And you got to sign it right next to that. And they compare the signatures to make sure they're the same. But obviously, if the person on North 15th Street filled out the ballot and signed it with my name, the signatures are not going to match, are they? No, they're not. But the state Supreme Court ruled that vote counts. What? What? You can't use signature verification to throw out a ballot in this election in the state of Pennsylvania. Excuse me? Seriously? So I request a ballot, I fill it out, I sign it, I forget to put it in the secrecy envelope, I mail it, it doesn't count. I request a ballot, the people on the next street get my ballot, they fill it out fraudulently, they sign it fraudulently, mail it out, it counts. This is the state of Pennsylvania, run by the Communist Democratic Party. Does that make sense? For all you new people watching the show tonight, all the other watchers, they know I've been preaching about this for the last 6 weeks. All you new people, does that make sense? Come on, man. No, it doesn't. You know it doesn't. How many ballots were filled out in other people's names that would have gotten thrown out if they were allowed to check signature verification? How many do you think? How many thousands upon thousands of ballots came in like that, of all probability? How many more people voted in Pennsylvania? Let's look. Let's look quick. Neither candidate got 3 million in 2016. 2.97, 2.93. In 2020, 3.3, 3.3. 800,000 more votes were cast in Pennsylvania. 800,000 more votes. Philadelphia County, Joe Biden gets 313. Hillary got 584. 573, sorry. So Joe Biden gets 11,000 less votes in the most populous Democratic county in Pennsylvania. And he got 400,000 more votes in the state. Really? How many of them were because of email or signature verification? How many? How many do you think? That is outstanding. That is unbelievable that he got less votes in Philadelphia County than Hillary did, but got 400,000 more votes across the state. Right there is fraud. There's no other way to explain it. No other way. I made a post about that a week before the election when the New York Times last polling of Pennsylvania showed that he was going to be down 10% in Philadelphia County. I said, where is he going to find 300,000 more votes from? It's not possible. He found 400,000 more votes. Right. Right. Fraud, ladies and gentlemen. If Donald Trump does not get this election, there's been a coup d'etat in the United States of America. No doubt about it. No doubt. What did you want to say?
Oh, so on the radio I heard on Hannity, he was interviewing someone, and it came out today in Pennsylvania, and it was a USPS worker who was forced, basically, to date envelopes that came in on the 4th to the 3rd.
Right. Yeah.
And he disclosed his name. He didn't hide it.
Right.
So he's probably going to get fired.
Or dead, or shot.
were shot. And it came out that it had to be like between 10 and 50,000 that were changed.
Yes.
Minimum.
Yes. We talked about this. For those of you, again, that watch the show, you know I've said this, and for those of you that are newbies, you will know. Again, in the state of Pennsylvania, they allowed 3 extra days, but your ballot had to be postmarked by November the 3rd. And I'm telling you right now, there's mail machines out there that you have to manually set the date. I used to work at a place that had one. I've used it. I've moved the date backwards because I forgot to mail out a bill. And I brought it into work the next day and had the person move the date back one day. So it looked like I mailed it on the day it had to be mailed by. These machines are still in existence. They still are. They are out there. That's how easy it is to commit fraud in the state of Pennsylvania.
And every other state that's allowing ballots to come in after
every other state.
Election Day.
I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if Joe Biden takes the oath of office, there's been a coup d'etat in this country.
I think there's so much proof of it, it's kind of hard to think that he will.
I don't know.
Since you were telling me before the show that in North Carolina there was a re-election at one point.
There was.
So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a re-election in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona. Could even throw North Carolina in there if you really want to.
Yeah. We're going to have to see what comes out of this.
And there's a bunch of, I forget where. It was in Pennsylvania, though. I think it might have been somewhere in Philly. That election observers were not allowed to watch ballot counting.
Right, Philadelphia.
They're allowed to watch you count the ballots.
Legally, yes.
Legally, they're allowed to watch.
Yes. And there's been other states where they were allowed to watch, but they put them so far away they had to use binoculars.
Yeah, because it was, they were saying like, 6 feet. It was like, well, you can't read a piece of paper from 6 feet away.
Right.
If they really had to, read it, mark it down, and then put the ballot 6 feet away so people could look at it.
Yes. So go ahead.
There you go.
So,
I was going to read Aunt Roz's comment.
Yes. So she asked, what do I think is going to happen? I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know what the Supreme Court is going to say. Is the Supreme Court going to say yes, we think there's fraud, but there's nothing we're going to do about it? There's that possibility.
I think proof of, a watermark ballot. Kind of people that were 200 voting is kind of proof.
Yeah.
Or the maiden name one, that's proof.
Yes. There's a lot of things that they could do, but the question is, are they going to do it?
Since the Supreme Court didn't even take up the Pennsylvania one.
Who knows? Yeah, because they voted 4-4 not to bring it up. But now that you got Amy Coney Barrett on there, who knows what she's going to decide? Who knows? It would be an interesting couple weeks. I saw that
something was turned over some time ago, and judges that were on it were Amy and Kavanaugh.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, that's a coincidence.
Yes. Yes. So, I want to end the night. Somebody had asked me, who was going to be watching the show tonight, if I would explain how this whole election process works. Because I had put a post on Facebook that when we voted on November 3rd, we actually did not vote for president. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I know you did, but did you out there in TV land, in Phatts TV land, know you actually did not vote for president on November the 3rd? So very quickly, I want to explain how this works. So, yes, when you went in there, your ballot said vote for one, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Joe Jorgensen, whomever else made the ballot in your state, and you voted. But you were not actually voting for them. You were voting for the electors that will vote for them. When the Electoral College meets the first Monday after the second Wednesday in December, which I believe this year is December the 14th. So how do they decide what electors get to vote? Each state is a little bit different. In Pennsylvania, when we had our primary, which usually is in May, but this year I believe it was in July or August, whenever it was, because it was pushed back because of COVID, we actually voted for the electors. Since I'm a registered Republican, I got to vote for whatever electors I wanted to represent the state of Pennsylvania if the Republican wins. Now, that's actually very important. You know, a lot of people don't take the time to look at what electors are running. And it's important because in most states, you are required to vote for whoever wins the state, but not everyone. So for those of you in the states where you're not required, you really want to find out who the electors you're voting for are pledging themselves to. Most of the time they will say, yes, if the Republican wins, I will vote for the candidate that's running, or I will vote for Donald Trump. Or if you're in the Democratic primary, I will vote for Joe Biden. But there's times where they don't say that. If you look at the last election, I believe there's either 7 or 8 electors that did not vote for the person they were supposed to vote for. They are called faithless electors. 2 of them for Donald Trump. And the other 5 or 6 of them were for Hillary. They voted for somebody else. Some states allow that. Some states, like Nebraska and Maine, award their electors differently. The person who wins the state gets 2 electors, and then Maine, which has 2 House districts, whoever wins those districts gets an elector for each. Nebraska has 3 House districts. Whoever wins those districts gets an elector. So in Maine, they get 4 electoral votes. Joe Biden won the state. He gets 2. He won the 1st congressional district. He gets 1. But Donald Trump won the 2nd congressional district, so he got 1. So Maine has 3 Democratic electors and 1 Republican electors. Nebraska, it's the exact opposite. They get 5 electoral votes. So Donald Trump got 2 for winning the state. He won the 1st congressional district, so that got him another one. He won the 3rd congressional district, that got him another one. But he lost the 2nd congressional district, which is shady because the Republican in the House won the 2nd congressional district by like 20 some odd thousand votes. And Donald Trump lost that district? Interesting. Things that make you go, So Joe Biden got 1 electoral vote from the state of Nebraska. So what happens is we vote for these electors. They meet the first Monday after the 2nd Wednesday, and they vote for president. You need to get to 270 votes to get the presidency. If you do not get to 270, then the presidential election goes to the U.S. House of Representatives. The vice presidency goes to the Senate. We're not going to talk about the vice presidency. We'll only talk about the presidency. So let's just say it goes to the House of Representatives. Each state gets 1 vote. That's it. 1. Whoever gets to 26 votes wins the presidency. Each representative gets 1 vote in the state. So Pennsylvania has 18 representatives. They all get 1 vote, and whoever gets the most votes, that person gets Pennsylvania's vote. Now, it's interesting because right now, if it did go to that, Pennsylvania has 9 Republican House members and 9 Democratic House members. They would tie. Neither candidate would get Pennsylvania's votes, assuming all 9 Republicans voted for Trump, all 9 Democrats voted for Biden. They don't have to. Again, whoever reaches 20, I'm not sure if you have to reach 26 or whoever just gets the majority. But let's say they get to 25. They keep voting and voting and voting. Nobody changes their votes and it stays stuck at 25. Come Inauguration Day, January 20th, I believe it is, or 21st at noon. If you don't still have a president, the Speaker of the House becomes president. Ugh. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Nancy Pelosi as the president of the United States?
I want her to take it, and then the presidency gets decided the next day.
That
Can't
would be cool.
Speaker of the House.
That's right. If she became president, she would have to resign her seat in Congress. Interesting. At least I believe she has to resign her seat in Congress. I don't think she could go back. I believe she has to resign. Interesting, this constitutional republic that we have. Any questions before we leave? Shoot me now, she said. Shoot me now. Did Biden's counts really go back to 253? Well, let's remember, sister, the counts that you're seeing back at 253 are just what the press is reporting. No states have been certified yet. So right now, the actual vote for electoral votes is 0 for Trump, 0 for Biden. These numbers that you're seeing is just what the press is reporting. They're not actual. No states have been certified yet. So it's actually 0-0 still. I think it's going to be a while before somebody gets to 270 with all these lawsuits going on around the country. Deservedly so. Anything else before we leave non-genetically proven son?
Nope.
All right. I would like to thank you for those of you that hung in there with us. It was a rather long show tonight. Usually we try to make this last no more than an hour, but we went close to an hour and 22 minutes tonight. So don't forget, on Thursday's show, we will talk about any breaking news in the world of politics, and then we will have week 11, is this, of the Phatts Fantastic Five? Week 10.
No, it's like
week 10.
10, yeah.
Week 10 of the Phatts Fantastic Five.
Still winning.
You are still winning, but I'm catching up. I'm catching up. You had a losing week. I had a winning week.
Because Florida State did wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to post it on my Facebook page, or you could post it on the PA or the Phatts TV page on Facebook as well. We have our own page for the show. So until then, that is in the upper left, the non-genetically proven son from his underground bunker. Looks really bright in your underground bunker with all those lights on over there. And I am the fat one. We come to you live every Tuesday and every Thursday. Other times when warranted. So we'll see you Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, where we go one,
we go all.
see ya.